Hey guys, so today we're going to talk about how to solve for missing angles in right triangles. Now, based on the previous video, we're pretty much familiar with how to solve for missing sides of right triangles. So now we're going to end up using what we call the inverse functions on the calculator. So you see above sine, cosine, and tan. In this color blue, it's sine -1, cosine -1, tan -1. Those are called inverses. So you read this as sine inverse, cosine inverse, and tan inverse. Okay, so let's remember how to identify our opposite, hypotenuse, and adjacent sides. Right. So in this little diagram, we have 12 here and 15 here. Well, I know that this 15 is on the hypotenuse side, HYP, and opposite of this missing angle here. Again, that symbol is called theta. That's our general variable that we use for angles. This is opposite. So if we reflect back to our trig identities, or our trig functions, we know that the only trig function that uses opposite and hypotenuse from the first three that we learned is going to be sine. So that would be sine of the angle, in this case it will be theta, equals opposite, which is 12 over 15. Right. So now our question is, well, how do we solve for something like this? I can't type this into the calculator and figure that out. Well, what we do is apply what we call the sine inverse function. So we would just pretty much take the inverse, apply sine inverse on both sides. You don't need to worry about this side, you just need to worry about this side. So in your calculator, it's going to look like the following. See, this is our fraction here, our sine inverse fraction. So we're going to do second sine, that opens up the sine inverse, and it's going to be 12 divided by 15. Then you press enter, you'll get this, right? 53 point, I'm going to round to nearest tenth, 1 degree. And again, whenever you use trig, you want to make sure your mode is in degree and not radian, especially if you're trying to find an angle. So that's pretty much it. Turns out that our angle measure is 53.1 degrees for this angle theta. Okay, that's pretty much it. I'm going to go over another example in a bit. Hey guys,
Hi.
so now we're going to go over a word problem involving using the inverse functions to solve for a missing angle. So let's read this. Problem 1, find the angle of elevation if you are standing 400 feet away from the 400 feet away and the building is 850 feet tall. Okay, so we have this situation where we don't have a diagram, but we know that we need to look for an angle. In this case, the angle of elevation. I'll explain what that is in a few. And we're standing away from something, and then there's a height, right? A vertical height, if it's tall, a vertical height of 850. So we're going to be sketching out some right triangle. This is the only situation where this will work at our current level, so just focus on simple images. So we have a right triangle. Let's say this is the person. This is you. You are 400 feet away. And this building, let's put some windows in it. This building is 850 feet tall. So find the angle of elevation. Now, the angle of elevation is the angle used when you are looking up at something. So here is our line of sight. If we have an elevation, we're looking up. And this is the angle we're looking for. Okay, I'll go over another problem talking about angle of depression later. Okay, so we're trying to look for this angle. Well, let's see what the relationship of these sides are relative to this angle. So if I draw an arrow from this theta to the building, well, that's going to represent my opposite. And if I see that this side here is adjacent to this angle, that's clearly my adjacent. And of course, again, the hypotenuse is always opposite of the right angle. So we don't have the hypotenuse. In this case, there's no number here, so we're just going to focus on these two sides. So again, which of the three trig functions, sine, cosine, and tangent, uses just only opposite and adjacent? That's going to be our tangent. So we're going to write tan theta equals opposite, which is 850, over adjacent, which is 400. Okay, so again, we're trying to find an angle, so we need to apply the inverse functions. Now, since this is tan, we're going to apply the tan inverse. And again, we go into the calculator. Just put that into screen here. Okay, so we're going to do second tan. We type in 850 divided by 400. Press enter. And round to nearest tenth, that's going to be approximately 64.8 degrees. And that's pretty much it. So please leave any questions or comments in the comment section below, and I'll be uploading some more videos later. Take care. Bye.